So part of the president's remarks Thursday included repeatedly chastising unvaccinated Americans.
It's not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you. Get vaccinated.
So the president didn't answer that question about whether it's constitutional, so we'll bring it up with tonight's Bream Team panel. Fox News contributors Jessica Tarlov and Dr. Marc Siegel, and New Civil Liberties Alliance Executive Director Marc Chenoweth. Thank you all for your time tonight.
Hi, Shannon.
Thank you. I'm going to start here with some reaction from GOP Senator Ron Johnson. He says the Biden administration's decision to mandate vaccines for working Americans without recognizing natural immunity and making exceptions for it is an outrageous trampling of civil liberties. Marc, you guys have been on the forefront of this. You've had some success with cases. Why aren't we talking about natural immunity? Are you surprised the White House didn't factor it in at all with these new mandates today?
Well, I'm not surprised because it's consistent with the fact that they've been ignoring it all along. As for why they're being so unscientific in their approach, I don't have a good answer for that. But natural immunity needs to be part of the discussion. Scott Gottlieb, the former FDA commissioner who is a member of the board of Pfizer, has even admitted that natural immunity needs to be part of the discussion. And President Biden, you heard in that clip, talk about how workers needed to be protected from their fellow workers. If fellow workers have naturally acquired immunity, they are not a threat. And to require them to get a vaccine is completely unnecessary to remove any risk.
I want to play a little bit more of what the president said today, a few comments about how he says this is the fault of the unvaccinated, that we're not improving or that we may have trouble moving forward. Here's what he said.
We're going to protect vaccinated workers from unvaccinated coworkers. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. We cannot let unvaccinated do this progress, undo it. Turn it back.
Doctor, how do you think that language is going to work with those who have thus far not been convinced this is in their best interest or that it's right for them?
It doesn't work. It works to talk to people one-on-one and to talk to them where they're coming from. As Dr. Murthy, the Surgeon General, said to Brett Baer following the speech, exactly that. And the president also said he wants primary care doctors to start talking to their patients about whether to get a vaccine or not. Are you kidding me? We've been doing that since December. Every single one of us in the country believes in vaccines pretty much and have been talking to our patients. So that was part of the condescending tone here. And I also agree with what Marc just said, which is natural immunity is part of the equation. You know, it's variable. We don't know how long it lasts. I think it's augmented by a vaccine so that plenty of studies are showing if you have immunity from COVID and you get one shot, you get 10 times the amount of immunity. That isn't being talked about. No flexibility here. And again, like in Israel, for example, you show the antibodies from having had COVID, and that's a passport to get in. It's not only the vaccine. Marc's totally right about that. And how about those under 12 who can't be vaccinated? Are they lumped in too?
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of questions there. Listen, this is what we were told. Kevin pointed this out back in December. President Biden said about vaccine mandates, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand it to be mandatory. We also heard the same thing from the CDC director just weeks ago, saying the same thing earlier this year, saying no way this would be a mandate. It kind of, Jessica, for a lot of people raises this thing, a reminder of when President Biden said about the eviction ban, well, you know, a lot of people think it's not legal. We're going to do it anyway. Is that what's happening here with these mandates?
Well, we're certainly going to see a lot of challenges to it, and I've already noticed that a number of businesses who employ over 100 employees have put out on social media that they will not be mandating the vaccine. But I feel like a lot of the discussion around what President Biden is putting out there ignores the fact that there's an option to also get a weekly test, which does not mean that you have to take the vaccine, which now has been approved by the FDA. I think it was a little bit different before it had that stamp of approval. But many organizations, schools certainly, like the Army, for instance, requires 17 vaccinations for people to serve there, and going all the way back to George Washington, who mandated inoculations against smallpox for the Continental Army. There's strong precedent for this in the country. We know that it is safer to be vaccinated. We're all in agreement there. There are kind of two outlier points that I think are important, in full agreement with the Marcs on the natural immunity part. There needs to be some sort of vaccine passport for those who already have the antibodies. And then also pregnant women, a category that I'm a part of, is a group that has about 75% that are unvaccinated. I chose to get vaccinated while pregnant. That was a discussion between me and my doctor. And the American Gynecological Association has said that it is the best thing to do because getting COVID as a pregnant person is demonstrably worse than the after effects of the vaccine. But that's another group that I think kind of has this outlier situation right now, which I understand is a heightened anxiety about taking it.
By the way, Jessica, congratulations. All of our viewers, we're all, and everyone in the Facts family, we're very excited about your news. But Marc, I want to give you a quick chance to respond because I saw you shaking your head to some of what was said.
Well, just the part about the vaccine passport, the idea that somebody who has natural immunity and isn't a threat to anybody else is going to have to show their papers. Now, it'd be one thing to show your papers one time, to show your employer, for example, that you have those natural antibodies. But the idea that you have to go around and show everybody in your daily life these numbers is a huge intrusion and would go way beyond anything that the Supreme Court has ever permitted before or that I believe the Constitution would tolerate.
Really quick, Doctor, before we go, I want to get a final comment from you on this carve-out, apparently for federal employees, that this mandate won't apply to postal workers. A lot of people are saying they're the ones that are visiting our houses and that are in and out of our neighborhoods all the time. Why the carve-out for them?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. And by the way, I think we need to keep our heads on what the issue here is, which is public health. We want everybody vaccinated because the vaccine decreases the amount of spread. Again, if you've had COVID, decreases the amount of spread, you already have some immunity. I think the point with businesses is the same. I expect businesses, not the government to superimpose mandates on businesses, but businesses to say, we want you to be safe. We want everybody safe here. We want to stay open. Businesses want to stay open, right? So get vaccinated or get tested.
Well, they're having a hard time.
Or get tested. Makes total sense.
They're having a hard time staffing up, and that's going to be part of their equation, too, as we come out of, a period where extended unemployment benefits are going away and all kinds of other things, too. Thank you again to all of you.